So a bit of a context for Anglian Water and why are we particularly interested in this? The most important thing is that agriculture is the top of the water supply chain. It lands on the agricultural land and then flows into the rivers or down into the groundwater before we pump it out and provide it to Anglian Water's 6.5 million customers. Our customers are scattered everything from the Humber Bank up in the north and North Lincolnshire, all the way down to Colchester and Essex, and all the way across in the west from Milton Keynes and further west all the way through to Norfolk. So we have an incredibly large area. Anglian Water is the largest water company in the country by area, but it is also a very dynamic area, a very complex area with a lot of different land use, but it's also the breadbasket of the country. So really important that we recognize it. The challenges that we see as a water company are going to be different to other water companies. There's a lot more arable farming in our areas, but there's a lot more change. Our water environment is dominated by both groundwater and surface water sources. Our supply is broadly a split of 50-50, although some regions, the further in the west, is dominated by surface water sources where all of our reservoirs are located. So everywhere from Pittsford to Graffham, Rutland, Alton, Ardley, all our major reservoirs. But we do have a huge amount of groundwater sources dominated in Lincolnshire and Norfolk that supply the remainder of our water. So our challenges are diverse. The pesticides and the nutrients and those sort of things that are also a challenge, and they vary depending on region. So there's no one size fits all in the solution. It's also remembering that while water quality is the primary driver for the historic business that we've been doing, there are a lot of other drivers from a water company's perspective. So we've got the quality side, but quantity is also incredibly important. And this ties into the floods and the droughts that we're seeing. The variation in climate that we're seeing is really important. We have people talking about the wrong type of rain. Well, if it rains too much at the wrong time, then absolutely it causes a challenge for us. If we can't abstract it out of the water, we look at that as water foregone. And what we're trying to do is avoid not taking in water at a particular time and then moving into a drought when we don't have supply. But there are also a wider range of challenges that is facing industry and certainly facing the water business and agriculture, of things like carbon, things like net biodiversity gain, all sorts of things that 10, 15 years ago were never a challenge and are starting to become more and more important parts of our business, parts of the priorities that our customers have. And that's important for agriculture, but it's also really important for the farming sector. In terms of the way that we engage with agriculture, the biggest driver for Anglian Water has been Metaldehyde. That's what's driven the formation of our Catchment Management Programme. It was the first pesticide that we had that we couldn't treat whatsoever. And I say that with inverted commas because the treatment site that's on the picture there at the moment is called Hall. It's the only site in the country that can actually remove Metaldehyde from drinking water, but it came at a cost of over £40 million. And to scale that up to cover the rest of the Anglian region would be an investment at circa 600 million pounds. So an incredibly expensive way of solving a problem. And as a company, we looked at it and said there must be a better way of solving this. And this is where our Catchment Management Programme was born. We launched a program called Slug It Out, where we engaged with farmers, we worked with them, we found solutions that would allow us to get on top of the Metaldehyde challenge. So that's our Catchment Management Programme and how we started engaging. It is, however, not the only challenge we have by any means, and most talks that you will have heard in the past very much focus on Metaldehyde. We're trying to move away from that. Metaldehyde has a date after which it can't be used. This is looking about planning for the next 5 years. So the next stuff is looking at the up and coming challenges.